Infinity cannot handle that kind of punishment. Not again.
This isn't about us or this ship anymore.
Sir, we've seen what the Didact is capable of. If we let him leave this world, humanity will be at risk.
Look, I understand what you think you saw.
Think?
With all due respect, sir, I know what I saw.
And with all due respect to you, soldier, I'm not willing to jeopardize my ship because of the hallucinations of an aging Spartan and his malfunctioning AI.
Sir, what if he's right?
Nav, as soon as we know we're airtight, I want a course laid into Karenay Station. Com, prepare a warning beacon.
I will not allow you to leave this planet!
Cortana.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do that.
Commander Lasky, pursuant to Article 55 of UNSC Regulation 12-14572, I'm ordering you to remove that AI's data chip and retire it for final dispensation.
I don't want to. You don't want me to.
Remove
Please.
the chip now, Commander.
Please. I don't want to.
Give me that chip.
The Didact has to be stopped. If you won't do that, I will.
I am ordering you to surrender that AI!
No, sir.
Lieutenant! Arrest that man!
Captain!
Arrest him!
Captain!
Get word to Earth that trouble is coming. Cortana and I will do what we can back here.
Welcome everybody, Josh here today, back again today with a brand new and special product review. Today we're talking about this, which is Halo 4 on the Xbox 360 through backwards compatibility, now on the Xbox One S as well as the Xbox Series S and X. And as you guys know, I'm a massive fan of the Halo franchise. I've been a huge fan of the Halo franchise since I was a kid. I played Halo 2 originally on the original Xbox, and before that I played Halo CE multiplayer on my friends' consoles. And I think that Halo is one of those video game storylines that has reshaped who I am as a filmmaker and storyteller. And I think that Halo 4 is one of those games that I have a love-hate relationship with. So I personally like some of the elements that are featured within the Halo 4 storyline, and I actually hate some of the storyline elements that are featured within it as well. And so I think that personally, for me speaking, this game is not as good as some of the Bungie era days of Halo, but I think that there's some elements that I really do enjoy about it. So what is the story of Halo 4? Halo 4 on the Xbox Series S and X through backwards compatibility with the Master Chief Collection. So Halo 4 continues where Halo 3 left off. You see Master Chief, he's jettisoned into space in that spaceship, and he actually crash lands on a distant planet. And so you pick up right where that whole situation left off, and you find out that the Forward Unto Dawn is hunting down a new threat that is going after the human race in this game, which is the Prometheans. The Prometheans are the new big bad, which has been an ancestor to the Forerunners. Now the Forerunners are the ones that actually built the Halo rings. They created all of the rings that you see that the game itself is named after. And I think that one of the really cool things about this game, even though it is a low point, is sort of the relationship that they focus on between Master Chief and Cortana. Cortana is going through rampancy. She's suffering from dementia in terms of the game, and she's thinking herself to death, and Master Chief thinks that by going to Dr. Halsey on Earth and trying to get her back to safety, that they can stop the rampancy from taking hold of Cortana and actually curing her of what she's going through. Whereas Cortana sees it through a more realistic perspective, where she knows that her time is very limited. He even tells that to Master Chief while you are playing this game, and Master Chief doesn't really want to believe that. He doesn't really want to believe that the person that he cares about the most in terms of the Halo universe is coming to an end, and he is on a mission not only to save himself from the Prometheans as well as the new threat called the Didact. And the Didact is this alien that thinks that he is better than humans. He thinks he's better than all life in the entire universe. And I think that one of the things that really separates the Didact from any of the other threats in terms of the other members of the Covenant species, which the elites and the grunts and the other members of the Covenant do come back into play in terms of the context of the story. There is a splinter faction that are now hunting down humans and trying to recreate what happened in the games originally, where they're trying to take down humanity through the Great Journey, as they call it, and actually light the Halo rings, which I think is a really interesting plot line and against the fact that some of these Covenant species would actually align with the bad guys in the game. And the bad guys in this game are frustratingly difficult to fight. They actually are difficult in some manner of respect. I think that the drone flying enemies, which I don't really know the exact name for them, that heal the Promethean Knights on the ground is pretty frustrating. I think that the addition of these drone-like characters, even in 2012, is something that I really wish that they didn't do that, because it makes these enemies twice as hard to fight in the games. And I think that the Promethean Knights, even of itself, are hard to fight as is, just due to the fact that they can teleport, they can go across the map, they have these new plasma-based weaponry that can basically snipe you from across the map if you are unlucky enough to come into the path of these weapons. The weapon systems are the same as they were in the previous Halo games, even though this feels a little bit more like 343 Industries when they're developing Halo 4. We're trying to copy that of the Call of Duty franchise. They're trying to reference games that have come before with Call of Duty, Battlefield, and some of these other first-person shooters. They're trying to play catch-up with those, which is ironic in a way, because Halo is one of those video games that set the bar on console, is one of those video games that really upped the ante in terms of what you could do with a first-person shooter narrative, especially a single-player first-person shooter, which this definitely is. And so with the Didact being this new threat, humanity is put up its back against the wall once again. And I think that the story of Halo has always been about that, where humanity is suffering, they're going through this hellish landscape, and they to pull themselves back up from it. And I think that Master Chief is one of those super soldiers, the only, individual out there that's able to stop this threat, and he eventually does in the game, spoiler alert. But I think that the fact that he is contacted by this librarian who ends up being the Didact's wife in this game is really cool, because you get to see a different side to the Didact than you actually think. You think he's just this big bad that's wanting to wipe out humanity, but does have a little bit more of a sympathetic character to him. I think that they could have done a little bit better with going through the Didact's history, what he's fighting for, and why he's trying to stop Master Chief in his tracks and trying to take down humanity as a whole. I think that had they had a little bit more time to develop that character as an individual, I think that the Didact could have been a really cool and interesting character within Halo 4. But I think that his storyline is one note, and it's a storyline of all these modern day first person shooters, and he doesn't really have that much of a character to him, even though I think some of the scenes that he is featured in are really awesome. The cutscenes in this game are done using motion capture, which all the Hollywood movies use nowadays, as well as video games in general when they're doing their cutscenes, and they do look really good. I think that the cutscenes in Halo 4 look just as good now as they did back then, and I think that's saying something for the technical prowess of the Xbox 360 as well as the Xbox One and the other consoles that it's migrated to afterwards. And I think that as a Halo fan, even though this game is weaker of the first 3 games, I think that you should definitely give it a shot and play it, because you might actually be surprised by the fact that the story is a lot better than it was when it originally came out. Because when it came out, I think the thing that really pissed me off the most, while I did like the fact that they're focusing a little bit more on Chief and Cortana's backstory and trying to get a feel for who these characters are when they're together, was a really cool idea. Making Cortana the villain, which she ends up becoming, spoiler alert, in Halo 5, which is a video game I do intend on actually reviewing at some point in time in the not so distant future, was a really poor decision by 343 Industries. And I think that it was talked about a little bit in the expanded universe as well as the video games itself. But Cortana mentions to Master Chief that she's got about 8 service years before she eventually becomes rampant and turns to the dark side of the Halo universe. And Master Chief doesn't, like I said before, believe her, and he thinks that going to Dr. Halsey is his only way of saving the person that he loves, which is a really stoic and badass way of dealing with the situation, which I think that anybody in that circumstance would actually do. But you get the hint that Cortana's going down a path that she really can't go from, and towards the end of the game you actually get to see the heartbreaking element of Master Chief's story when he actually realizes that Cortana is not actually coming back with him, and that she's sacrificing herself to better humanity as a whole, until the next game where they bring her back and do everything they did in this game. And I'm not gonna harp on Halo 5 Guardians, because that'll be a different video for a different time, but I think that Halo 4, while it does some missteps in terms of adding the Spartan abilities and some of the new characterizations of Master Chief and giving him a little bit more storyline and dialogue in this game, which I think is nice as a touch, but Master Chief has always been one of those characters that says very little. He says just enough to get the point across to the story, and he gives these really awesome one-liners, especially like with Sergeant Johnson in the earlier Halo games, or any of the other characters from Halo CE onto Halo Reach. Master Chief doesn't speak all that much in the previous games, and so it's a little bit jarring when you're actually playing the opening act of the game. You realize that Master Chief is speaking a lot more than he usually does, which Steve Downes is an awesome voice actor in his own right, and I think that giving him more lines is really awesome in terms of what the 343 Industries was able to do with this character in the game. And same with Jen Taylor. I think she's an amazing voice actor and character with Cortana, and I think that their love story is something that binds pretty much all the Halo fans together. You can relate on some level to what Master Chief is feeling in the games, and so I think that storyline was really brought together well. But I think the fact that they chased Call of Duty, especially with the multiplayer, which I don't really have multiplayer footage to show just because I wasn't actually able to get multiplayer footage for this review. The multiplayer was weak at the time, and I think that the fact that they're doing everything that Call of Duty was doing with their game franchise, especially with the class setup, the ability to have weapons loadouts, the ability to kind of customize your character a little bit, was something that they're chasing from Call of Duty. And I really do want to have Halo get back to the point where they're not chasing other video games, because Wolfenstein and Doom, the first first two first-person shooters, and Halo is that one that said, hey, maybe 3D first-person shooter games on consoles is actually possible. And I think that Halo set the bar for future games in that genre, especially with its great storyline, the bombastic nature of the first couple of Halo games, the fact that this does feel like a cinematic blockbuster, which even the Halo TV show tried to copy but didn't really do a good job of. I think that this is a little bit better than the Halo TV show, and maybe I'll review that at some point in time in the not so distant future as well. But I think that for me personally, I think Halo 4 is a stronger game out of the 343 Industries games that we actually got. I like Halo Infinite a lot, and I think it's a way better game than this game. But I think that for me personally speaking, I liked Halo 4 and Halo Infinite. I think that Halo 5 is just a terrible game, but that's just basically my ranking of the franchise. So I think if you want to go back and play some of the earlier games in the Halo franchise, getting yourself a copy of Halo 4 either on the Xbox 360, kind of like what you see here, or even getting a copy of Halo the Master Chief Collection, which I do have, but I'm kind of lazy and I don't feel like pulling that out right now, is definitely the best bet. One of the things I really do like about Halo 4 is the weapon variety. I think that having the human weapons, even though they're a little bit more of a redesign compared to that of the design and art style of Halo CE through Halo Reach, is really interesting. I don't really like the redesign of some of the characters and the weapons and stuff like that in the game. I think that the redesign for Master Chief wasn't really needed, along with redesigning the classic Halo art style, which is one of the reasons why I didn't really enjoy Halo 4 as much as I did the previous Halo franchise. I think that had they left the art style similar to what it is in the games with the Banshees, the Ghosts, the Wraiths, the alien vehicles and weapons, as well as the human vehicles and weapons, which human weapons consist of the Magnum, you got shotgun, you also got assault rifles, like the DMR now is place of the battle rifle, as well as you do get the battle rifle in the game, but it's not really as cool or interesting as it was in Halo 2 through Halo 3. I think that changing that up really does affect the player's association with this franchise. It makes it seem like it's a completely new universe. It makes it seem like it's completely new aesthetic compared to what it was even in Halo 3. I think that changing up when they did was probably a bad idea because they eventually went back to the classic Halo art style anyway. And I think that classic Halo will always be the 343 Industries version of that game. And what was even a little bit more jarring was the fact that there wasn't the classic Halo Mjolnir mix, which is produced by Martin O'Donnell, which I guess, you know, Martin O'Donnell and Xbox had a legal issue that they were kind of going through, which is why they couldn't really use that music as much in this game compared to even Halo Infinite. And I think that had they worked with Marty O'Donnell and Joseph Staten, they could have had a really kick-ass Halo 4 and Halo 5 game, but they went their way with those talents and went with new people that came on board. And I just don't think that the stories were as good with the newer Halo 4 and Halo 5 games. And I think that Halo Infinite was a really good try, but I think that had they hired both Marty O'Donnell and Joseph Staten to come back when they failed kind of twice at doing this, would have made this game a little bit better. And I think that for me personally speaking, as a Halo fan, I'm going to stick to the Bungie era days of Halo, but I think that 343 really did kill it and knock it out of the park with Halo Infinite, so maybe they can learn those lessons and do a little bit better for the next Halo installment, whatever that may be, but we still have yet to see. So what do I give Halo 4? I don't really give video games a rating system per se. If I were to give this game a rating system, it would be about 5 or 6. The game itself isn't really that bad, but I think that personally speaking, changing the storyline, changing Cortana to be the villain when she actually is not giving enough runtime where the villain itself, and kind of having the villain die off screen, a cutscene and a QTE event, was lackluster, and it really did hurt development of this game. Also, changing the art style was not a really good look for them, and not having the original Halo theme for Master Chief in this game really doesn't bode well for me personally. One of the game's cutscenes I really do love is the fact that, you know, Master Chief is threatened with arrest. He's accosted by Del Rio, I do think his name is, and Del Rio is just a big old dick that wants to stop Master Chief in his tracks. He doesn't really trust the man that saved humanity like 3 or 4 times in the past, and so Master Chief defies his orders, stand down and get arrested and hand over the chip, and he's like, no sir. And it's like, you know, you fucked up when Master Chief speaks and tells you no. Like, you know that you're pretty much the biggest dick in the Halo universe, and I hope that in the future they really don't have characters like that in the game, because I think that those characters really do hurt the aesthetic of Halo as a hopeful universe. Even when times are down, you can get back up and can continue the fight, as Master Chief would say. And I think that having the one-liners in the past that were a staple of Halo and something you quote even in real life is something that's missing from these games. So I just think it's a weaker game, but that's my opinion of Halo 4. I really did have a good time playing this. Halo has always been comfort food for me, and whenever I can jump back into an old school Halo game and replay those games and have a similar memory from back in the day like I do now playing them, it's always awesome. Halo's got me through some good and bad times. It's also inspired me as a screenwriter and storyteller, and I think that these games will definitely be around even long before I've passed from this planet. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the Halo franchise as a whole. Which game is your favorite? Did you like Halo CE, Halo 2, Halo 3? Did you like Halo Reach, or even some of the other 343 Industries games in the franchise? Let me know in the comment section down below, and as always guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So
Mind if I join you?
Of course not, sir.
At ease, Chief. Feels kinda odd for you to call me sir. Beautiful, isn't she? I don't get to see her often enough. I grew up in New Harmony. Attended Corbulo Military Academy. Never saw Earth in person until I was an adult, but I still think of her as home. You don't talk much, do you? Chief, I won't pretend to know how you feel. I mean, I've lost people I care about, but never anything like you're going through.
Our duty as soldiers is to protect humanity, whatever the cost.
You say that like soldiers and humanity are two different things. I mean, soldiers aren't machines. We're just people. I'll let you have the deck to yourself.
She said that to me once. About being a machine.